This is Touchpix here. If you guys are able to see my screen, this is Touchpix, right? Let me see where my mouse is. Give me a sec here. Okay. I'm gonna explain to you how it works. I'm gonna explain to you the different price points. I'm gonna explain to you the support number. The support number you will find on our webpage is here, right? If you go over to contact, this is our toll-free number. It's 1-833-646-9955. Currently, we're open Wednesday through Saturday. I think that might change as the next week, hopefully. We're trying to get up and running 6 days a week. So we're only going to be down, I believe, on Sundays now. But, you know, prior to that, we've tried it. We're just trying to get our staffing up to speed with certain things, and just be patient when you call the line as well. I get a lot of calls frequently of new users, and they want me to set up their events, or they want me to fix something. That's really not what we do. We're here to troubleshoot and try to guide you on you fixing it yourself. It's a little hard sometimes because you have the device on you, and there's some settings that require the file to be on your physical device at times. So just kind of be mindful of that. So number one tip I'm going to give everybody, and I hope you guys try to live up to this tip, is be prepared. Don't ever try to rush an event. I understand you guys want to get booked. I understand you guys want to get out there, you know, but be prepared, right? What do I mean by be prepared is being prepared is activating your event at least at the very minimal 24 hours before, you know, the event that you're going to do. That way you can test it, practice, make sure it's running good. And once you get to the event, it's already activated. You don't have to worry about scanning no QR code. You don't have to worry about anything. You're ready to go. Often than not, I get calls the day of saying, hey, I can't scan my QR code. I'm about to go on in 5 minutes. That puts a lot of pressure on yourself. That puts a lot of pressure on the tech staff. And most importantly, you got to understand that to activate an event, you have to have some type of Wi-Fi or cell coverage. All of us have done events. I've been in the event industry doing this type of work since 2013, I think now. Yeah, it was 2013 when I established my multi-op company. And we've all done events out in the boondocks where there's no cell signal, there's no Wi-Fi. And if you're not prepared, you know, you're basically going to be left hanging, right? So prepare yourself for that. You know, so in the event that you need support, we'll help you out. We're not here to upload overlays for you. We're not here to design. We're not designers. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not here to add text. I'm not here to do that. You know, this is your business. Try to prepare the best as possible. We'll guide you where you need to be ready to go, but we just can't offer that, okay, I'm going to design this overlay for you, I'm going to upload it for you, oh, I'm going to upload this music for you. It just doesn't work that way. We'll guide you, we'll tell you how to do it, and that's why we offer these free trainings every Wednesday. Okay, so that's a support line there. You can reach us then. Okay, as far as pricing, we're going to go into pricing now. There's actually 4 different prices, right? We have what's called a weekly professional price, right? That's $50. What does that mean? That means you could install Touchpix on your iPhone or iPad with the condition of you having devices. Every iPhone and every iPad, they require an Apple ID for you to operate. The Apple ID is usually tied to your Apple Pay or your Apple App Store, right? If you're going to use this for a business, this is the time where you're going to have to create, or I would recommend that you create a separate Apple ID account. That way your personal pictures and your business pictures or videos, they don't intertwine with one another. And I would recommend that if you create a separate Apple ID, right, you make the purchase with your business Apple ID. That way you can log in and log off of different Apple IDs as you see fit, right? If you're gonna, if somebody else is gonna do an event for you, the last thing you're gonna want to give them is your personal Apple ID, where they're gonna get all your messages, all your emails, all your contacts, and all your photos, right? This is a business. You're making this for profit. I'd recommend just opening up a business-related Apple ID. It'll make it a lot easier. Every device that you own would need to be on the same Apple ID for this app to work with the with the unlimited activations, right? Yeah, we'll let you install it in 20, 30 different devices, meaning that you can do, you know, all of those events at once, but they all have to have the same Apple ID. If you have a phone that's on an Apple ID, then you want to use your sister's phone or iPad that's on a different Apple ID, you're going to run into some issues. So I'd recommend get them on the same Apple ID and you're going to make your life a lot easier. So $50 gets you for the full week, 7 days. It doesn't mean that it's prorated. It doesn't mean, well, I didn't use it Monday and Tuesday. You know, that's credit. So the way it works is if you buy it on a, like today, Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., it's going to expire 7 days next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., right? It's a 7-day subscription. The monthly package is the same thing. It just gives you a little bit more cost savings because you're going on the month. Instead of 50 for 140, you get the entire month. Yearly, it's the exact same thing. You get more cost savings if you go yearly. You know, people often ask me, well, what package should I get? That's really up to you. As a new business, I'm assuming that you're getting started. I'm assuming that you have a somewhat of a business plan in place to ensure that you know where your expenditures are going, how much you're profiting, things of that nature. If you're already starting in this business, I know you already spend a grip of money, right? The platforms aren't cheap. They're at least 2K and up, right? And you don't just need a platform. Now now we're saying you need an iPhone. Now we're saying you need an iPad to share or capture, or now we're saying you need a GoPro. Now you need support lighting, a ring light maybe, or lighting for your camera, and everything else that goes with it. Promotional banners, maybe a rug, and maybe some extensions, which are the crowd control things that you put around your 360, so people just don't start jumping on and off. So there's a lot of expenditures that you're already spending. So if you don't get booked too often and are just starting out, it's perfectly fine going with the $50 package, right? Nothing wrong with that. If you're getting booked more frequent, obviously maybe the monthly package may make sense for you. Now, if you are an established photo booth company and you're just adding a 360 experience, then that's when I would recommend you go with the year package, because you have other iPad booths or photo booths that you can use Touchpix with and also use them at the same time. Touchpix, like I was explaining earlier, it's a full-blown photo booth software. If you have an iPad booth, it work great for drop-offs, right? Somebody wants a photo booth, you just do a 2-3 hour drop-off for digital prints only, and you make easy money that way. You pick it up 2-3 hours later and you're good to go, right? I haven't lost an iPad yet, you know, by dropping it off. I have security deposits in place, but also that Find My iPhone or Find My iPad app works wonders, right? They lock unless they have your credentials. That iPad or iPhone is useless. I don't recommend you do drop-offs for 360, but if you do have iPad booths, you know, that's an easy way to make extra money. So that's what I would recommend a yearly. We do have what's called a true white label, which is here where it says shop. If you go into our shopping page, you do not need to buy any of this stuff that I'm going to show you. I'm just explaining what it is. So if you do want anything from here, it's completely optional. You don't need to buy any of this. But the other package that I was referring to is called the white label subscription. This is the only subscription, right, that will allow you to install Touchpix on any device. It doesn't matter what Apple ID you have. You could have mismatching Apple IDs. If that account belongs to you, any device can activate that Apple ID. We have it for $1,200. If you're new and if you're committed to Touchpix, you reach out to me. I can give you a promotional discount. I could probably get it as cheap for you as $950 if you guys are willing to commit for the year. You don't need to buy it. It's optional. But if you want some cost savings and you want a app for the entire year that's not going to restrict you to one Apple ID, this may be a good buy for you, a good investment, right? So I'm just throwing that out there. You can shoot me a message or shoot me an email. We'll get you squared away. The other two items that are on the shop store are what's called sparkle leaks confetti, right? These are effects that are already, instead of you hiring a designer because you want some confetti effects to shoot out from the top or the sides or the bottom, Touchpix has already pre-created a bunch of different effects: gold confetti, silver confetti, just different types of sparkles and light leaks that you can use and upload. These effects actually need to be downloaded from a computer. Once you get them on the computer, they're on a zip file. You got to extract them. You got to go through them, right? Because we offer like 5 different templates with Touchpix. They're all categorized by templates. Once you find out the ones that you want to use, those are the ones that you have to make sure you either send them to yourself via email to that specific iPad or iPhone. You need to physically have these effects to load them from your phone. So these are considered a little bit more advanced features, but Touchpix has tutorials for everything. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this real quick. That way you understand. You could always on YouTube just type in Touchpix, and you'll find the official Touchpix page. That's not mine, but in here, Mr. Mastermind, Mr. Martin here, who is in the implementation and developer of Touchpix. He's the one that spearheading the whole Touchpix movement. He has specific tutorials on how to get you started, right, with Touchpix. Those effects, if you end up buying them, again, they're optional. You will need to watch this animated overlays YouTube video, and it explains it in great detail how to actually load them. These videos are short videos, unlike my webinars that tend to be about 2 hours. I think you'll find it very beneficial. Touchpix also allows for green screen, right, using 360, which is pretty cool if you have a green screen. If you don't have an idea what green screen is, I'm going to just kind of do a quick spoiler alert, right? The spoiler alert is this: you see how he's recording it with the green background. Well, look at the output, right? And this is the end result. That's pretty dope. Yeah, so I mean, Touchpix is a very powerful app. It does a lot of different things, but it really some features are very user friendly, and other things like the green screen is going to require you to kind of dive into a little bit more of the advanced side on Touchpix, but it's very doable because at the end of the day, Touchpix is an app, right? If you can master this app, then you're going to have a lot of possibilities and be able to make money a little easier than others. So let's go back to the main page.
Quick question.
Sure.
What happened to the other green screen app that was on there next to the sparkles?
Oh, so that was taken down. We were having some download issues. That's getting fixed. As soon as that gets fixed, it's going to come back in. So what So what he's asking, and we used to sell a green screen package where you can do something similar to what I just showed you. It's just been taken down because that file was too large, frankly, and he's splitting it up into smaller files where it's easily downloadable by the user. We were getting a lot of download errors. It was taking a lot of our time sending separate links to make sure that you guys got that content. But as soon as it's fixed, you'll see it back in there. It's going to be called green screen effects. Okay, so it'll make it back.
I'm sorry, I got a question too.
Sure.
So do you have to have 2 devices to do an event, or can you do it with one, or you have to have 2?
So to answer your question, you can actually do it with one. There's nothing wrong with doing it one. I just think that you're going to get tired of doing it with one, and it's going to mess up your workflow, right? Because if you're using one device, meaning that you're recording with one device, and then you're waiting for that group to share their content to their phone, everybody wants to share it to their phone. That's going to hog up the, your event time, right? You're going to want to do as much or as many sessions as possible. So although you can do it with one, it's going to slow down your workflow. So what you're going to want to probably do eventually is invest on a separate device, or there's a way where I could probably show you towards the end of this webinar where you can just supply a QR code where guests
Okay.
can scan that QR code and they'll have access to the gallery. I'm going to throw a disclaimer for this. Before you do that, right, I'll show you how to do that. But before you do that, you're going to have to check in with whoever's paying you for the event. A lot of privacy issues come into effect where maybe whoever's paying you doesn't want those videos to get released, right? Like they don't want people to access other people's videos. They just want people to access
Okay,
their own.
but you can send it all to the actual person who's doing
Correct.
the event, and they
Correct.
can dish it to who they want to give it to.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, you can do that. Absolutely.
Is it possible to like record on an iPhone or an iPad and then you use like a MacBook to send the videos, or does it have to be like another portable device?
Well, it's really depends on your workflow. I've seen people do it with MacBook, but via like AirDrop, right? People airdrop it to their MacBook, and then from their MacBook they can share it however they want to share it.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to go that route, yeah, you're able to do it. You know, that's the beauty with Touchpix. It works with the Apple ecosystem, so you can get very creative on how you want to share your content. Yes, we recommend another iPad or something like that. And no, you don't have to buy an expensive iPad Pro to do the sharing. You can get any of these. You know, Black Friday is coming around in November. I know they sell iPads around that time for about $249, $289. Any of those iPads will make great sharing stations, right? So you don't need the latest and greatest iPad to be able to share, right? Now, if you're going to video record with those iPads, then I have a different opinion on that, right? You're going to need one with a better rear camera because those are very dependent and limited on what they're able to do. Okay.
Okay. So I got a question here.
Sure.
All right. I got I'm just starting. I got my stuff like a week ago. I got instead of having an iPad, I have a monitor with an Apple TV hook to the back of it. So even though I got that with the QR code on it, it's still recommended to still have an iPad for a sharing station.
I would recommend it because at one point you're going to see that your sessions are going to be dragging if you are sharing with one device, or if you're going to an event with that QR code. The QR code is really dependent on your internet connection, right?
Okay.
So if your internet's non-existent at that place, that QR code's not going to do you any good, because in order for people to be able to scan that QR code, that means that video needs to be uploaded onto the cloud system that we use, right? And without any type of connectivity, Wi-Fi or cell coverage, then that QR code is not, it's not easy to. It doesn't make it easy for you to share files, right? But I don't want to confuse people, because the Scanpix that I'm going to show a little bit later today, it actually is going to allow you to share files without the internet, right? So, and that's a separate QR code. We do things with QR codes that are so different, but I think at the end of my webinar, sometimes people say, well, damn, like you use the QR code in 3 or 4 different spots and they all do something different. So just pay close attention to that and what I'm explaining, and I think you'll get the concept.
All right, thank you.
Quick question.
Sure.
Will you show us how to do the sharing station? How to set that up?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I will
cool.
definitely show you guys how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to dive into Touchpix now. So as you can see, this is this is the main page. Once you go to touchpix.com, obviously you're going to want to go to login. If you haven't created an account yet, this is where you would create an account with your name. I would use your Apple ID email address that you're going to want to use for your business. And remember this address, it'll make it a lot easier if you use this address on your Apple App Store, if that's what you're logging in with your iPhone or iPad. So think about that, okay? Don't do it with your personal one. That's going to compromise some of your personal information. Once you register for that, for those people that are brand new users with Touchpix, I would recommend that if you are interested in giving Touchpix a shot and allowing us to show you our software for 7 days free of charge. Mind you, this only goes to new users, right? Brand new users. we give everybody a free 7-day free trial. You're going to want to email support@touchpix.com requesting a 7-day free trial, and make sure you provide them with your email address that you registered under Touchpix for. They'll give you, they'll return an email within usually between 24 to 48 hours saying, let me retract that, usually between 24 to 48 hours during the week. If you email like on a Friday, then don't expect an email to come in back to like a Tuesday. Okay. And, you'll get a promo code typically, and they'll tell you your account's been activated and you're able to do everything you need to do with Touchpix for 7 days, absolutely free. It's designed for you to try Touchpix, give us some feedback, give us a call if you get stuck anywhere. Go back and review these webinars and go from there. But once you register for an account, we're going to log in. And I'm going to log in right now. My login, for those of you that are already using Touchpix, might look a little different. I do have some of the administrative privileges on Touchpix. So I'm going to explain to
Okay.
you. Go ahead.
I got a question where you just did the login at.
Yeah.
So when you did the login and someone else to do 2 devices, can you put in their information in that in your iPhone to use 2 devices to log in, or it still won't let you?
No, the login, when you register for an account, you're going to want to register for the account that belongs to you with your Apple ID.
Right, but to use 2 devices, like can't.
So what's your question? I'm a little confused.
To use 2 devices, how do you link both phones to the same ID, Apple ID?
Well, it's done by your account. So if you're the master account holder, like I logged into my account, it'll know. It'll know that your Apple ID is assigned to that specific account. Okay. So I'll explain that a little bit with more detail as I go through the process. You're going to see me scan in multiple devices, and that'll make sense for you. Okay. So right when you hit login, this is your dashboard. This is where you're going to live about 90% of your time when you're going through Touchpix. So I'm going to go through some of these tabs here with you, right? The designer is where you design your overlay. Touchpix gives you a very basic interface to how to design your overlay. It allows you to do some borders. It allows you to put text, nothing too extravagant. A lot of people use Photoshop or Canva to design overlays. Overlays is just a completely different skill set. Like, I'm not a great designer. I usually go to the Touchpix group. We do have a Facebook group called the Touchpix user group. And there's a lot of freelance graphic designers in there. They use Touchpix themselves, and it's a lot easier for me to just pay somebody, an extra $30, $45, depending on what they're designing for me, to design something for my event. You may be thinking, well, that's $45 for a design, $50 for a subscription. That's a little, now it's getting a little bit expensive, right? So, a word of the wise in the industry is none of this money that you're spending should be coming out of your pocket, right? If you're not recouping the subscription fee and the fee for your overlay, if you don't design it yourself, then you're not charging enough money, right? So you got to take those in consideration. Those are just costs of like operating business, like paying for electricity, paying for a hotspot if you don't have one, things of that nature. But you should never be out of pocket with that. You should always charge the client enough where you're going to be able to make good profit with it. So that's the designer. I explained pricing already. So right here to my left is create an event. You get 2 options: create a custom event and create a custom event from preset. I'm not going to show you with great detail the create an event from preset. To me, it's like a cheat code, right? You're basically cheating yourself out of learning how to do certain things. But I understand that people may need it because you're in a pinch and you want to just kind of go through a 3-click process to get up and going. So preset's already basically done for you. It'll include a music file. It'll include some Touchpix logos. You just click what applies to you. Are you using a motorized spinner, a manual spinner? Are you using a sharing station? Are you using a TV slideshow? So I don't like to teach it this way because I want you guys to learn from scratch. The more you learn about it, the more you understand how it works. You're not going to run into any issues. If you decide to do it this way, this is the reason I don't like to show it. If you decide to go in here, right, you're already paying for Touchpix, you know, either 50, 140 or 1,000 a year. It has Touchpix branding on it with these features. You're still going to have to go in there manually and change it to your logo. You're still going to have to go change your music file to something that you want to use. So it's really redundant for me to show you how to go this method while I'm trying to show you the correct way and doing it yourself. That way you don't have to go backwards and you understand everything. But just know that you do have this option in case you're, you know, in case you're, you know, get a last minute booking and you didn't have time to prep for anything and you really want to do it. Although I don't advise that, this is there for simplicity and to get you up and going, right? So I'm going to click on create a custom event, and we're about to get started with this specific event. Creating a custom event. Here we go. All we're going to do is follow the list all the way down. We're going to name this event 10/6, which is today's date, but you can name it whatever. 10, we're going to pretend it's a wedding. So 10/6 wedding. That's going to be my event. Language is going to be English. Country is going to be USA. Countdown is like every other photo booth, right? Typically what that means is once you press start, it'll give you a 4-second countdown or delay before it actually starts recording. You can adjust the time up or down, whatever it is that you feels fit for your specific needs. This is the time where people typically go up on the platform, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people that have never used a 360 before, and they'll, you know, they're going to want some instructions. Typically I get questions like, what do I do? How do I move? There's people that actually, because you tell them it's a slow motion 360 booth, there's people that actually move in slow motion thinking that they need to move in slow motion. So you got to explain it to them like, hey, look, this is just a 360 booth. You get on the platform, you can dance, act silly, make some movement, normal speed, and you're going to see the end result of our video. That's going to be a slow motion video. Just have them do anything regarding movement. This is your time where you prompt your guest. The beep sound just gives you an auditory beep. It doesn't matter if you enable or disable it. It's not going to do anything. All it does is give you an auditory sound. But if you guys are in the event industry, if there's a DJ in the background with music blaring, you're not even going to listen to the sound anyways. But you can activate it. That'll be fine. Mirror overlay preview. This kind of is in a funny spot, but I disable it, right? Disable this. This just means that once you load your artwork at the very end and you hit start record, that artwork on the actual iPad or iPhone is going to look like it's backwards because you enabled mirror overlay if you enable it, right? So if you uncheck it, it's going to look right. Either way, it'll work. Doesn't mean that the output's going to be backwards. It's just saying that it has the mirror effect while it's recording. So it really doesn't matter if it's on or off. It'll work either way, but I always recommend leave it off, right? So now we're going to go down here where it says front or rear camera. So this is, I always get questions here. I'm going to check rear camera, right? So Touchpix is compatible with most all iPhones and iPads that are capable of being on the latest iOS, which is iOS 15.0.1 now, right? Well, let's just say 15, iOS 15. Just because it's compatible doesn't mean that you're going to get equal high quality or high end results with every device. The devices that we recommend you use for slow motion recording are your iPhone 11. It doesn't matter what model. It can be the basic, Pro or Pro Max. iPhone 12. Again, doesn't matter what model, or iPhone 13 now, right? It's compatible with all of those devices, and we recommend you use the rear camera. I haven't tried the iPhone 13 as of yet. Hopefully soon I'll get my hands on one, but I guess it's my understanding that the iPhone 13, you might be able to use a front camera with the same quality, recording quality as the rear. All the other iPhones have a better rear camera. The front camera is really not designed to do slow motion. It's not capable of doing a record at a high frame rate. So iPhone 11 or 12, use the rear camera. That's your best bet. If you're using an iPad, I don't recommend people record with iPads, and I'll give you my opinion, but it will work. If you own an iPad and you want to use an iPad to record, well, just think about this, right? You guys have probably seen videos online where people get on the spinner and somebody's probably a little intoxicated and they get off the spinner a little early and the arm hits them. You're going to be a little pissed off if that arm not only breaks, but it falls and then your iPad screen cracks. iPads are pretty damn expensive, right? And it might not survive a crack versus an iPhone that has a nice case to it, right? The other thing is not all iPads have a nice rear camera. The iPad that I would recommend if you decide to use an iPad is the very newest iPad Pro, but that iPad is probably about $1,000. Although you will be able to record slow motion video with any other iPad, you're going to see a degrade in resolution, right? It's not going to be crisp and clear like the iPad Pro or the iPhone 11, 12, or 13, right? Because the rear camera is a lot better. It has an ultra wide lens on these other devices that a lot of the iPads don't have, with the exception of the brand new Pro, right? We're also compatible with GoPro. If you're going to use a GoPro, you can use anything from the Model 6 Black all the way up to 10 Black. And why I say black is because GoPro, similar to the iPhones, they have like a basic model, a medium model, and the black is their high-end model. The high-end model is the one that you want because it actually records at 1080p at 120 frames per second. Some of the other silver models or the white models, they do not have that feature. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 black are the GoPros that you want to use if you go GoPro. Okay.
Not the Max?
Not the Max, correct. Black only. Okay, so from there, we're going to go here where it says camera exposure. Camera exposure, I always leave it enabled. What this means is if you're going into a venue to set up and maybe that venue has dim lighting, you can go into your camera settings and adjust the camera settings like a normal camera, like the ISO or the exposure, and it'll help you compensate a little bit for not having enough light. So I always like that option. I leave it checked off. It doesn't hurt if you check it off or on. It'll help you in the event that you understand what to do, or in the event that you go into a venue that just has, is very dim and you don't have enough lighting to provide support for your 360 platform. So you can enable that. QR protection, leave that off. That's meant more for the photo booth side. If you accidentally check this on, what it means that for any subtle change that you want to do within the app, it's going to ask you to scan the original QR code to ensure you have authority to come into the back end. It gets a little annoying when it starts asking you that every time you want to make a change. So I always recommend people that are doing 360s to leave it off. If you have an iPad booth, then I see a need for you using it because you don't want your guests to have access to the back end. But as a 360 operator, it doesn't matter because a 360 is not a drop-off unit. You'll have an attendant there or you'll be working it there yourself. As I scroll down, the printing function, we're not interested in because this is a 360 booth. So we're going to go with no printing. And because it's a photo booth software, it gives you the ability to do all these features. Today, we're only focused on slow-mo. We're only focused on slow motion today. And this here is actually your slow-mo recording time. So it's basically saying that it's set at default for 4.5 seconds, right? And that doesn't mean that that's going to be the length of your end video. It just means that it's only going to record for 4.5 seconds. The higher this number is, the longer the end video is, right? So right now it's telling you that it'll only allow you to go between 0.1 to 8, right? So just know 8 is your max. I'm going to leave it at the default. That usually gives me about a good 13, 14 seconds. If you enable slow-mo boomerang, all that means is towards the end when your video is processing and it plays back, it has this boomerang effect, meaning that the video plays in reverse after it reaches its ending. So it adds time to that video. It's actually a cool effect. Most people use it. So go ahead and select enabled if you want that. The next area here is a very controversial area, right? Audio file. A lot of people, it's controversial for the following reasons, right? As a business, you got to understand that I'm going to teach you how to use Touchpix to protect not only the Touchpix business, but to protect your business. I understand there's a big debate whether using copyright-free music or top 40 is appropriate. A lot of people say, well, I pay for my Apple Music. I need you to understand that although you pay for your Apple Music, if you read the disclaimer, you're paying for personal use. Now you're trying to use it for profit, which changes that disclaimer. And we have known of a couple of people that have been that have received at least cease and desist orders from major music labels for posting or making profit on something that belongs to a record label, right? We all know that Facebook, Instagram doesn't allow for basically copy protected music to be played. They'll remove it, right? And then you're given strikes for that. So just be mindful of that. I will share with you a couple of websites where you can download music that's royalty free. Royalty free just means that it doesn't belong to a big music label. It belongs to a specific person who made that, and it still comes with a cost, but you know that cost, you know, it opens it up so you can use it whenever it is that you're licensing that specific soundtrack. So there's a music site called audiojungle.net. There's a music site called Ben Sound, B as in Bravo, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, sound.com. And then the third one I want to say to use would be Epidemic Sound, Epidemic Sounds, right? Some of these sites give you free trials, meaning that they'll give you 3 free downloads. They have every type of genre, something that sounds pretty modern if you really dig through. But that's what I'm going to recommend you use, right? Because I can't indicate to use something illegally. And at the end of the day, Touchpix will let you use any file that's MP3. Any file that you have in your possession that's an MP3, it'll let you use it. Once you get that file from any of these sites and you download it, what I'm going to recommend you guys do, what I'm going to recommend you guys do, let me see here. I don't know.
Can you spell the first music one again?
Ben, B-E-N, Sound.
Okay, Ben Sound. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, now I know why my stuff wasn't working. Give me a second. I think I grabbed the wrong computer, but nevertheless, I could still make it work with this. Let me see. Sorry, I got a couple computers that look pretty identical, and that was my bad. Let me see if I have anything here. Photoshop. Just bear with me. Okay, I just wanted to get a couple things here because I need to show you guys. So what I recommend you guys do is always make a folder, put it on your desktop, and call it Touchpix Files. Pix Files, right? And in this folder, it's just for organizational skills. I'm going to use this royalty-free music sound right here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it onto my desktop, right? I'm going to pretend that this is something that I downloaded off the internet. And I'm also just going to grab this Touchpix logo because I can show you guys how to load up that logo. So any of your personal business logos, you're going to also drop it in there, right? And let's see what else I can use. I'm going to use this video promo. I will explain what that video promo is, but if you guys want like a video promo that gets added to the end of your video of your business, you're going to have to get a graphic designer as well, and they can design it for you. But once you have it, make sure you download it and put it onto your specific folder there. And let me grab some Touchpix logos, I guess. I think I already grabbed a couple. I may need an overlay.
Hey, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys not able to see anything?
No, it's just stuck
Yeah,
on
we
this.
can't see what you're
Okay,
doing.
got it. Now are you guys able to see?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so what I recommended you guys do is open a create a new folder, right? Create a new folder, call it Touchpix Files, and then in this folder you're gonna drop your MP3 file, you're gonna drop your logo file, you're gonna drop any file related to what you're gonna use for your specific event. I'm trying to see if I can get a overlay somehow, because I grabbed the wrong computer by accident, but I'm gonna try to freestyle this and make it work. Let me see here. I just gotta dig through and see if I can find an overlay for Touchpix. If not, I'll just create something on the fly. All right, you guys are gonna watch me create something on the fly real quick. It's not gonna look as good, but here we go. So I'm gonna open up, I don't know what this is. Let me see what this is. Looks like it's an overlay. That's a simple overlay. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got those. Those must have been some customer overlays. Okay, so I'm gonna do something on the fly here where you guys are gonna see me how to resize it, right? And I typically don't show this process, but I'm gonna show it with you guys, right? I'm gonna just grab, these are some of my photo booth overlays. This is really not meant for Touchpix, but I'm gonna use it anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open it, and I'm gonna open it with Photoshop. Photoshop is a great app. If a lot of you don't own it, I suggest you invest in it, right? It's a great app. It lets you do a lot of different things. I could add different fonts. I could add different, different features, but it's a great app. So what I did is I'm just getting an old template that I use for my photo booth overlay. In this case, this is what it was, right? And I want to make it usable for Touchpix. And I'm just going to resize it because I already know the size for Touchpix. And it might look a little funky because it's not intended for that. But I'm just going to size an image. And I want to make sure instead of inches, I'm talking in pixels. I'm going to go 1072. I'm actually going to hit this here. That way it stays. And it's 1072 by 1072. That's the size for Touchpix. I'm just going to hit OK. That's my square, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with that. So then I'm gonna go ahead and go save. Let's go export, save as a web, and I want to make sure I save it as a PNG file. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it. I'm gonna use it as my demo. And sorry, I'm just freestyling it right now, but it'll all make sense, right? So when you get a Touchpix logo made, make sure it's a PNG file, it's a transparent file. And now in here, I have a Touchpix logo. I have my Touchpix song that I'm gonna use, my outro video. And where did that overlay go? Give me one sec here. Are you guys still able to see my screen or no? Are you guys, okay, cool.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. All right, let's roll with that. Just want to make sure it's still there. Okay, so now let's go back into Touchpix. Sorry for I just went a little rogue there on you guys, but here where it says add music, you can go ahead and hit choose file. I'm gonna point it to that Touchpix Files folder, and I'm gonna use this song here called Latin Joint. If you notice, see this song right here, I could tell it's actually a full song, right? So I'm about to show you guys something that I rarely show in my other webinars. And I think it's kind of beneficial because I think you guys are at some point are gonna have to learn how to do this. So if you look at this song, you see it's an MP3 file, right? and you see that the length of the song is 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Well, I don't need it. I don't need a song that long, right? I just want to get, I just want to be able to get a small portion of that song. So I don't even think I have it installed on this computer, but a good tool is a free software called Audacity, right? Audacity.org. It's open source software, which means they make it for the general public free of charge. It's compatible with Mac or Windows. In my case, I'm using Windows. I'm going to go ahead and just download that real quick. You guys are looking at a live download. That that's going to let me. It's going to let me edit that track. So I'm opening it now. I'm hoping you guys are still able to see the, what I'm showing you on the web.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So once you install it, English language, I'm going to hit next. Go ahead and install it, create a shortcut, install it, right? So this is an absolutely free app. It's a great tool for you guys to have. And I'm going to just show you guys how to cut a song real quick.
Is it necessary to actually cut the song if the
Well,
actual video is only going to be about that?
I think so. I think so.
Song, length.
For me, I want to say yes. It might not be necessary for everybody, but I think what's going to differentiate your service with somebody else is when you have a service and you have your output polished up. So you know how there's songs that maybe you don't want the beginning because they're maybe talking in the beginning, or there's songs where people just want the chorus of whatever chorus that might be. You just want to highlight the chorus. So that this tool is pretty handy for you to get to those places, right? Without having to compromise anything else. Because other than that, you're just going to revert to going to the beginning of the song every single time. So this is what I'm going to do. Now I have it installed on my computer. Now I can minimize this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the music track. It's called Latin Joint. Open, and then I'm going to choose the app, which I just downloaded. And it's Audacity. Open it. So once it lets you open it, you're basically looking at a wave bar right here. Right, I'm going to no show it again. And I'm going to see if I could turn down the volume. I don't want it too loud. Okay, so if you look at this this graph, are you guys able to see the graph here? Yeah? No?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in. So if you look at this graph right here, I'm going to hit play.
Are we supposed to be able to hear it?
Are you guys not able to hear it?
No, we can't hear it.
Okay, let me see how I can do this. Well, yeah, it's going to be a tough one for me to kind of mimic. So if you understand the way graphs work, typically here where the graphs spikes up is where the bass drops, like the main bass. I don't want this beginning part because is technically the down tempo. I want to be able to start my 360 booth with my video when it hits the downbeat, when it hits that drop beat, and you're ready to go. That way it's nice, it's feel good, and you're good to go. So Audacity makes it real easy, right? So what I'm going to do is right here on the cursor, I'm going to grab it right on the peak of that specific, let me do undo. I'm going to grab it. Oops, sorry, undo. Why is it doing that? Never mind, give me a sec. I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. Looks like they changed it on me. Okay, so this must be a new version. Just go select. Let me go back. Sorry, they changed the layout on me a little bit. Let's go select. So you were normally able to do with the pencil is cut the beginning part. Let me see, to draw. There we go. Sorry about that. Got it. So if you get this little tool here, little cursor tool, and you place it at the beginning of the drop beat and drag it, you click on it and you drag it to the left. You see how it highlights it?
So you can erase that part, or
Yeah,
just...
you can just hit delete on your keyboard and it's now deleted, right? And then from that point on this is the 30-second mark. I just want 30 seconds of it. So I'm gonna drag it to the right this time, all the way to the end, right? And then I'm gonna hit delete. So now I'm only left with the 30-second track. I could hit zoom just so I could see the wave bar better. And if I want to do a little bit more of a professional sound, right? I'm going to go ahead and this last 2 seconds, or yeah, about 2 seconds, I'm going to highlight it. And then I'm going to go over where it says effect. And I'm going to add a fade out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to also do that in the beginning, but instead of fade out, I'm going to have it fade in. That way it doesn't just start blaring, right? There's like a nice little subtle start to you could fade in, effect, fade in, and a fade out, and it's gonna sound super professional. So that's basically all you do. Super easy to use. It's a free tool. All you do from here is hit export as an MP3 file. I'm gonna save it into that Touchpix folder. And I'm gonna just rename it edit, Latin joint edit, right? That way I know which one was the original and which one wasn't the original. Okay, so now it's done. And sorry, I veered off there because I didn't have my other computer, but I guess it's good for you guys to see, you know, some of that stuff. And when you feel comfortable enough, you'll get there, right? So now I'm gonna hit go add audio. I'm gonna go into that Touchpix folder. Now I'm gonna see that edit file here, which look, it's telling me that's 30 seconds now. And hit open, and the song is loaded, right? As I scroll down, I'm gonna zero out all these areas. The timeouts, what this means is if you were running a photo booth, it's gonna give you an option to allow the guest up to, these numbers are in seconds, like 10 seconds to edit, 10 seconds for surveys. If you had surveys, 10 seconds to add props, but we're not using props. We're not doing surveys. We're not editing. We just want to leave sharing at 12. That's all we want. That's all we want to focus on, sharing at 12. Everything else is 0. As we scroll down, you're going to see methods of sharing, which would be SMS text, email. I'm not going to use Facebook. WhatsApp, let's use WhatsApp. It's a new feature. Why not? Copy. Download's important, and I'll explain why right now. AirDrop, QR code. This edit screen is unchecked, but this is super important right here. In-app gallery needs to be checked. This is what controls your sharing. What I mean by the download being important, right? So the way Touchpix works is after you're done with a session, right, and somebody types in their phone number, it doesn't actually send them the video. It sends them what's called a hyperlink, a link to that video. And if people are using iPhones, everybody knows that Apple's very notorious on just preventing you to do things kind of easy to a certain degree, like downloads, right? So if people click on that link from an iPhone, it's going to automatically open up their Safari web browser, and their Safari web browser doesn't have a way to download the content. Even though they can play the video, they won't be able to download it. What this download box does, it adds a download button on the Safari web browser, so that when they play their video, it now has a button that's added for them to download. So it's important you actually check that out. Obviously, AirDrop is the way to share it from iPhone to iPhone, because it's just super fast and you'll get the content immediately, right? But for Android users, make sure you use, make sure downloads checked off. You can actually do QR code if you have a decent internet, or just send it via text message, right, for the Android users. And if your internet's good, they'll get the content. As we scroll down here, this is what you're gonna be able to modify the email subject. If you have a photo booth business name, for example, say my name is XYZ photo booth, this is probably something that I'm going to incorporate in the email subject, saying thank you for using xyzphotobooth.com. Same thing in the default email. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a question about the sharing? You said that it was set to 15. If you're using it for your iPhone on the spinner, doesn't it need to be to 0, or else you'll have to keep pressing the button?
No, negative. I think that's a misconception. It just allows you 15 seconds for people. What that means is if you're using it for text messaging, right? It's just gonna allow 15 seconds for people to put in their number, or else it'll time out on them. So if you leave it to 0, the way I'm going to show you how to do this is because you're going to have to duplicate this event for a sharing station, right? And if you leave it at 0 and you forget to make that adjustment on your sharing station, then people tend to freak out, because all of a sudden when they get to their sharing station, it's not giving them any time to input any of the numbers or email addresses, and they think it's not working. So that's why I always tell people, just leave it at 12. Once you master it and figure out your workflow, then change it to whatever you want. But I like to teach it with leaving 12 up there. That way people have enough time to input that sharing information.
Thanks, Jim.
No problem. So yeah, so here, since you're paying for Touchpix, you want to brand it to the best of your ability. You want to go ahead and brand it, put your business name, maybe put a website in there, maybe put a contact phone number. And I think Touchpix has improved in that area. Before, I think some of these text messages were being red flagged as spam, but I think we've been working with our provider, which is Twilio. They're kind of keeping an eye out, making sure that we don't have any red flags of text messages being red flagged for too much content, but keep it to the point. Thank you for using xyzphotobooth.com. Please visit us at Instagram hashtag. This is my contact number. I typically use something like that at all 4 of these boxes, so you're gonna want to keep them real consistent. But this is your way of branding them, okay? Web gallery, same thing. Use the same saying for all 4 boxes, and you'll be fine. As we move down to the props area, we're not using any props, so leave that at no props. And again, we're here with branding, right? Branding, you're going to want to put your company name up here. The app logo. The app logo, if you're using an iPad sharing station, is a logo that's going to sit in the front and center of the iPad when people rock up to it. Or if you're using an Apple TV to share, that logo appears on the Apple TV as well. So whatever you load up in these areas, this one pertains to the iPad sharing station and the Apple TV. It's here. The logo that's loaded here actually is behind the app. It's the one behind the Touchpix controls. So if you do the app background, this is what you'll see when people, this is what people will see when they walk up to the booth is they'll see your logo, whatever it is that you uploaded here with the Touchpix features. And the web gallery is a separate web-based URL that people have access to. Whatever logo you put in here goes to the URL. To not confuse people, and I do it myself all the time, I use the same logo in all 3 locations. So, right. So if you have your logo, I recommend that you put it in that Touchpix folder that initially you created on your desktop. I'm going to hit choose file. And if you notice, it's automatically going into that Touchpix folder now, since I pointed it there the first time. So I'm going to use this Touchpix logo here. So I'm going to select that. I'm also going to use that same logo on all 3 locations. If you have your logo, I recommend you do the same. I'm going to hover over the logo, that way you see the size. It's a PNG file. It's a rather small size, right? It's in kilobytes. And if you look at the dimensions, I would say if you leave the dimensions, again, this is in pixels, anywhere between 2,500 and below, you'll be fine. So if you create a logo, use 2,500 pixels or below, and you'll be fine. You don't want to use something too large, right? So I'm going to use the same logo in all 3 locations. You guys will be able to see the logo once I scan it with my phone. The attract screen. This is probably more an advanced feature. You don't need it, but What the attract screen does is if you're doing a wedding and your photo booth or your 360 booth is not being utilized because maybe they're doing the toast or maybe they're doing the cake cutting, it's basically a downtime. The attract screen gives you the ability to either put in a picture, a video to promote your business. It just kind of plays in a loop, right? While the spinner is not being used, right? When somebody wants to use it, all you do is tap the screen and it defaults back to its normal settings. So this is just attracts attention. So that's what it stands for. Attract screen means it basically attracts attention. So you can use a video or a picture file. But for this, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to skip over that. And another thing that's important is the text and button color. If you notice that the logo that I use, I'm going to hit choose file again. The logo that I use is actually a PNG file. If you guys know what a PNG file means, it just means that it's transparent. Although you see the Touchpix logo here and you see the lettering, you're not going to actually see a color behind it, right? If it was a JPEG, if I were to change this into a JPEG file, that means the black would be white. So how does this affect you setting up an event? Well, if the black turns white and your button colors are white and the text is white, you're not going to be able to see it. The text and the color buttons are going to be camouflaged. So in the event that your logo has a white background, you need to actually click on this box and change the white into a different color, maybe a red or a black, something that you're going to see over the white. So in this case, I know my logo is not white, so I'm just going to leave it at white, but that's how you would change it. As I scroll down, this is the survey area. I'm not going to go into detail with the survey area. This is mainly for the photo booth area function. But for example, photo booths, sometimes you'll get clients that want to collect email addresses from people, but they also want to collect some data. Specifically car dealerships, if you have a standalone booth at a car dealership, they may want to know questions about when you're going to buy your next car within 0 to 3 months, 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to a year. What's your budget? You can actually set up questions and answers to reflect that. And car dealerships are really good sources for you to drop off a photo booth there for up to a month or two. They all they want is not only the info, but they want people's email addresses. So you're able to actually extract all that information from people using their booth at the car dealership and provide it to them at a higher cost. So it's a great way to upsell. I'm not going to go into detail, but that's what it's for. So the motion trigger here, a lot of people have automatic spinners and some of them have manual spinners. The way I'm going to show this tutorial is without the motion trigger. So if you have a manual spinner, I recommend you leave this off, right? If it's a spinner that you move by your hand, leave it off for the following reason. The motion trigger works like this. If you put your phone up on the spinner, the phone has a built-in GPS sensor. So once you activate the motion trigger and the phone moves on the arm, the movement of the phone tells the app, okay, I'm being moved, start, right? So it actually initiates the app to start on its own. So if you have a manual spinner, the reason why I won't recommend you use the motion trigger is because if you start the app, right, and you throw the arm so it could rotate manually, now it's going to kick into the countdown phase. Depending on when you have that countdown phase, it's going to go 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it's going to record for another 6, 7, 8 seconds, depending on what you set it at. And we're hoping that you gave it enough juice where it actually going to continue record and not stop mid-record session, right? So I think it's a lot easier to just leave it off. And, just as soon as you hit start and countdown hits 1, then that's when you would let it go. For people that are using automatic spinners, same thing applies. I mean, you can use it off and on, doesn't really matter. I think it's convenient for some people to use the motion trigger because all they have to do is hit start on their remote and Touchpix is going to start the session right when it detects movement. It's a cool feature. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to leave it off. And if you want to play with it, that's what it does.
Hey DJ, so using the motion trigger, does this negate the seconds countdown?
It doesn't negate the countdown. It actually waits for the countdown to finalize and it'll start. So
Okay.
that, that's why I always recommend it's sometimes easier to just hit start manually and then turn on your device, once the countdown hits 1 or something like that.
Okay.
That makes sense, right? Let me see. Okay, so then this part here, external screen session, this is optional. You do not need to hit external screen, but I'm going to explain what external screen does. External screen allows you to use an Apple TV, right? For those of you that don't know what an Apple TV is, it's similar to an Amazon Fire Stick. It's similar to a Chromecast. It's a little box that's plugged into any TV monitor via HDMI. There's actually TVs that have the Apple TV app built in, some of the smart TVs, and I'm going to explain the difference between the two, right? The difference between the two is the following. The Apple TV box works independently. It communicates from Apple device to Apple device pretty good, actually. You don't need a Wi-Fi connection to make them work together. What it does is it actually does a live view recording, so you can see the recording or the people being recorded as it records, and it does a video playback once it's done recording. Not only that, if you guys pay attention to this QR carousel, then that video at the bottom, if you have internet, it'll supply a QR code, meaning that now that the people can walk up to the TV, look at their video. Right beneath that video, they'll have a QR code that they can actually scan that QR code and retrieve that file, right? So it's another way of sharing. It's an upcharge. I would recommend it. Don't throw it in for free. This is definitely an upcharge, especially if you're taking TVs out there. But you can get really creative with this, right? As far as sharing QR codes through the TV, it's great, but with Touchpix, it only does the four most recent files, meaning that if a person does a session, forgets to download it, goes into the party and kind of, they mingle for about an hour, and they come back to you an hour later and saying, hey, can you pull up my QR code on the TV? I want it now. You won't be able to do that because it only does the four most recent sessions. But it's a good visual wow factor, definitely enhances the event. It's cool to do. So
DJ,
yeah,
on the live view, is there any way you can extend the live view? Is it a certain size, or is it the default certain size for that live
yeah,
view?
so right now we are working on making that a little bit better, right? So right now is really dependent on the template size, right? So if you're using template, any template but template 4, because template 4 is actually the one that takes up the entire screen basically. But all the other templates are a portion of the screen size, right? It's going to appear smaller. If you're using template 4, then you're good because it's going to take up the entire screen. But we're working on that, on how to resize that. I think there might be an easier way on how to, just kind of make some modifications on that area, right? So
thank you.
It used to be bigger. It used to take up the whole screen before, but as soon as the update happened with iOS 15, it's now smaller.
Yeah, and that's something, like I said, I mean, yeah, so that, again, we just have to keep up with the implementations of stuff. And I know I've talked to the developer and he agreed. That's going to get a lot better. The slideshow piece of it's going to get a lot better. It's just, we're working on it now. And before we release anything, we just have to go through testing. That's all. But, rest assured that that's going to get addressed and we're going to try to make it as best as possible.
So you said for the TV to get the Apple box? Apple
box, correct. Initially, when we started doing these webinars, I was recommending the Apple box, the generation 3, right? Because they were working great at the time, but with everything else, like everything evolved. So now I'm going to say, the Apple box 5 is out. I'm going to stick with the Apple box 4 as a recommendation. If you guys were able to get the Apple box 4, use that. The 3 works. I've noticed some glitches come up on the 3. But again, as iOS keeps going up, there's certain limitations on what you can do with some of the older technology. So, I would say the 4 and above, just to be safe, you'll be fine with that. So
I had a question. I just recently bought a smart TV with Apple TV installed, but I'm not getting them able to communicate with each other.
Okay, so let me tell you this. I actually do not recommend the smart TV, right?
Okay.
And the reason why I don't recommend the smart TV is that so what he's referring to, so everybody can kind of get up to speed, is there is smart TVs that actually have that Apple box built in, right? The limitations with the smart TVs, they do work. They absolutely do work. But the reason why we don't really recommend them is because it's hard to support them. There's so many different TV brands that it's hard to troubleshoot, right? Versus we have everything Apple. It's easier to actually try to determine what's not working. The other downfall to your specific setup is going to be when you have a smart TV with the built-in app, then at that time you're required to have an internet connection for them to work. It's absolutely required. With the Apple box, it's not required. It communicates from Apple to Apple protocol. But because you have a smart TV, the smart TV component requires you to have access to a Wi-Fi before you can log into the Apple box or the Apple app. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I just bought the Apple boxes for all my TVs in my house, and my son is not using one of them. It haven't even been open. Could I possibly use that one, or you think I need to purchase another one? I don't even know what the.
You know what I would do if I was in your specific situation? What I would do is actually try it with I would try it with the one that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it works great, then go ahead and rock with that. You already have it. You have nothing to lose. And if it's not working great, if it's glitching or something, right? Then definitely I would go and try to get the Apple Box 4, right? Because that's kind of the one we're recommending now moving forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So once we're here, again, this is optional. You absolutely do not need to do this. This is an optional. This is here for you for an upcharge if you want to go ahead and go this route. It is an upcharge though. Make sure you charge appropriately for this. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, right? Once you hit submit, you're going to be given a QR code, which means you're ready to scan into the QR code to activate your event. I'm not going to do that just yet because we still have to design the artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and click go to designer. And I'm going to show you guys real quick where to upload the artwork, right? I'm going to go into designer. It automatically defaults into the photo booth side, right? You got to tell the app what template are you using. So we have to go here to the left. Click under templates. There's a drop down menu. Go all the way down to slow-mo overlays. I'm going to be using slow-mo 2, which is the most popular one. It's a square. I would suggest go with whatever you feel more comfortable with. I think 1 and 2 are pretty popular, but I've also used 3 and 4. They just have a wider view. As you can tell by the silhouette, it just tells you that there's a wider view for these template 3 and 4. 2's popular based on the social media, being social media friendly. What was that? I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Quick question. For the do you have to select the slow-mo overlay? Because I did.
You do. You do, because if you don't, it's going to automatically default to slow-mo overlay 1.
Oh.
If you don't select one, it'll default on its own to overlay 1. So yeah, even if you're going to leave it blank, you would still just click on it, right? And once the silhouette pops up here to the right, then hit add template.
So just so I'm clear. The drop down menu where the slow-mo overlays are, and there's many different options.
Correct.
If you were to go to any others, like say the video overlay or something like that, it wouldn't work with the slow-mo.
It would not. Those are for other photo booth related functions, like the photo booth overlay, the video overlay. People do videos for like confessional booths at weddings, congratulating bride and groom. Animated GIFs is for just photo booth GIFs, and then the green screen. So you would just be focused on slow-mo overlays for 360.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so for this, make sure you click here you'll see the silhouette pop to the right. And that's when you know that, okay, that's the overlay you're working with. And like I said, Touchpix gives you a very generic way to kind of design your own. If you go over here to the left and click on stickers, all of these sticker options you're able to use to design maybe a border if that's what you want to do, right? You're going to want to come here. Like, for example, say I want to use this here. I clicked on it. It popped right up here. And now I can use this and kind of make it into a border if that's what I want to use, right? Maybe this would have worked better if I use a different overlay. So let me delete that real quick. I'm going to use something else. If I would have used a wider angle overlay, I think that would have worked better as a border. But you can do stuff like this, like these little clip arts here, where you can just design them, resize them if you want, right? And place one in every corner if that's what you want to do. Just keep on clicking, place them in every corner. You can add hearts at the bottom if that's what you want, right? So let's go with the heart, resize. And if you want to do something like that, right, you could just click on the copy, and it'll just keep doing same thing, you know. Just like I said, I'm not a graphic designer, but you can get creative in doing your own stuff if that's what you want to do. Lastly, I'll show you how to do the add text if that's what you want to do.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So what if you already have your overlay?
I'm sorry, can you unmute yourself one more time, please?
What if you already have your overlay from Canva that you created? You can bring it over?
Yeah, you can bring it over. I'm going to get there right now, but I'm just,
okay.
You're about 30 seconds ahead of me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do this in
oh yeah, you can do it here. You can do it here, but you're limited on what you can do. Obviously, Canva gives you more options, but look, all of these are like lights, you know, stuff that you can use. You know, there's tons of stuff. You just have to kind of go through it and go from there. But if you want to go to text, you can hit text. You see where it says large text. You want to click on it. It pops up onto your screen. You can extend these real quick. And then if you go here to the bottom, you see number 40, you click up, you see how the text starts increasing in size, right? And then this drop-down menu actually lets you change the font. Say I want to use Amsterdam, and I want to write something myself. I'm going to double click in this cursor box, and now I can, you know, write happy birthday, or, you know, write whatever basically. So I'm going to just do happy B-Day or something like that. Just make it, obviously this is too big, but if that happens, right, you can actually come back here, make it smaller, and then you can place it wherever it is that you want to place it, right? You can drag this down, and you can change the color if that's what you want to do. You can drag it anywhere. You can actually flip it over. You can do a lot of different things, change a lot of stuff. I'm going to delete it. Like I said, I'm not a graphic designer. So now getting to, if you design something through Canva or have somebody design it for you, what you're going to want to do is go over here where it says uploads. If you hover on these question marks, it actually gives you the template sizes right here. On custom overlay, it'll give you the template sizes for all templates right here. So if you're in Canva or Photoshop, template 1 is a certain size. And if you remember when I resized that one on Photoshop, this one is 1072 by 1072. So this is how you upload a template, right? Somebody designed something for you, you purchase something online, you're going to click browse. And if you remember, I put it here on the same folder, Touchpix Files, for organizational purposes. I'm going to select this one that I resized. I'm going to hit open. Once you hit open, it drops it down here to the left-hand side, and then you're just going to click on it. And there you go, right? Just because a silhouette, just because this covers a silhouette doesn't mean that it's not going to work. You know, the silhouettes, they're just as a guidance, right? You're going to have to adjust the camera angle once it's mounted. But typically, I wouldn't use a template like this because it's too wide, right? I'd probably want to open up the square to show more video content. but since I grabbed the wrong video and I just showed you guys how to resize it on the fly, that's, you know, something that I'm going to use and see how it works out right now. So what I'm going to do is, once I'm confident and I want that to be loaded, what you can do as well is you can add logos if you want. Logos, you can add a sticker and hit browse. I'm going to add this Touchpix sticker as my logo, right? So I'm going to go all the way up here. Here's the Touchpix sticker that I added, and I can place it somewhere down here. I'm pretending that's my logo. And finally, I'm going to hit, once I'm ready to go, I'm going to hit add template, right? Once it turns green, you're basically done. I know it took a long time. This doesn't take this long. When you're new, it might take you 15 minutes. When you're really familiar with it, probably 5 minutes. You know, I'm able to do it in 2 minutes, but I don't expect anybody to do it in 2 minutes. But once you go over to events, you're going to see your event right in here, right? This is your event. I'm going to go ahead and do QR code. I'm going to switch over screens real quick. That way you guys can actually see me activate it with my phone. I got to type in some magic numbers right here. That way you guys can see my phone pop in.
And while he's doing that, I want to stop through and say hello to everyone.
What's up, Charles?
None much, none much. A lot of you may have talked to me on the phone today. How y'all doing?
Yes, I did.
To you also, thank you, sir.
No problem. Glad y'all got a chance to join today. I hope y'all learn a lot. This is just I always want to jump in and just say what you put into it is what you get out of it. Practice is what's really going to get you where you want to be. And I would just really just go as far to say, just keep pushing, keep practicing. When you need help, I'm there to assist every day. We have a group full of people who've been through what you've been through. Everything is possible, but stick to what you need to know. And I'm here to help. So remember, I'm Charles. Reach out if you need me.
Right on, Charles.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, Charles is
what's your Facebook?
Charles is under, is that for Charles or for me? Charles is under Jessica Boone. He uses his wife's profile. I don't know why he doesn't get his own, but he uses Jessica Boone on the Touchpix group. I'm under DJ1 Duke. We're both under the Touchpix group. We're both moderators in that group. So feel free to, shoot us a DM if you running into a hiccup. Okay.
Yeah, Charles, check your DM.
If you need to find me, also it's CeeLo Rogers, C_LO Rogers, and I'm one of the moderators in the group too. So you can do that one or Jessica Boone.
Check the Jessica Boone one, Charles. I talked with you earlier, but you hadn't responded yet.
Yeah, I was asleep. I fell asleep. I just read it again. Give me a few moments.
Ain't no problem, bud. Ain't no problem.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
can you
go ahead.
Can you just repeat what you're doing here? Because
okay, so yeah, so now I just logged into my phone. That way you guys can see the actual sharing portion. So I finished my event. I clicked on the QR code because that's what I'm going to need. The QR code is basically all the settings that I set up. And now I'm going to walk you guys on how to activate it on your Touchpix app, right? So if you see the screen on the right, that's actually my iPhone, right? And before we get there, I'm going to show you guys a couple different things that I think are very important. Let's see if I have it. I don't have it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. One of the free tools that we're going to recommend is Speed Test. It's always good to have these speed test apps. The second one here that says Speed Test by Ookla. Go ahead and download that. They're very beneficial. I use this before I get to any event. It's showing me basically how fast my internet speed is. I'm going to go ahead and run a live test here, right? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to hit go. It's telling me it's Spectrum is my internet provider. So as you're looking at my speeds here, this is pretty decent download speed, right? But unfortunately, Touchpix really doesn't utilize the download speed. What Touchpix uses is this speed right here. It's called the upload speed. And I recommend you do a speed test. And if you have a number higher than 7, I think you're going to be okay, right? Obviously, if you can hit 15 or the 21 that I have, you're going to be fantastic doing your events, meaning that sharing is going to fly, everything's going to go fast. If you have something lower than 7, then that's going to be kind of a red flag before I start my event, saying, man, maybe I need to pivot to plan B for my QR code sharing. Maybe I'm not going to use that. Maybe I'm going to try to use more airdrops because the signal here is not that great. So that's a good tool for you guys to use. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to another spot, right? This is right before we go into the Touchpix app. I'm going to explain to you that Touchpix is a subscription-based app. So I went into the App Store, and when you go into the App Store, if this is my silhouette, obviously on your phone is going to be whatever you named your phone. So it's this little circle here. If I press on that, you're going to see this here, subscriptions, right? The subscriptions part is important. It's very important because this is where you're actually going to turn off and turn on your app. When you don't want to use it, make sure you actually turn it off. And it's telling me mine's about to expire in December. But if you don't turn it off, it's going to keep on charging you, even if you don't have events. It's a subscription-based app, and this is where you would turn it off, okay? So before we start, that's where I wanted to show access to that specific location. That way you guys can turn it off at your leisure. Now I'm going to open up Touchpix.
I'm sorry, right? Can you show me where that's at again?
Sure. If you go over to the App Store here, the Apple App Store, click Apps. You see this little silhouette up here. Yours is going to have your picture or whatever your device has. Click on that, and it's going to be subscriptions. And you'll see Touchpix. You'll see Touchpix there, and every time you will see your expiration date right there as well too. Okay. So now I'm going to go back into Touchpix. What I recommend people do all the time, and if you do have some hiccups, the most popular hiccups are the following. Touchpix is tied to whatever Apple ID is on that device. If you're going to be logging off one Apple ID to go to another, right? I recommend you do this all the time. That way you resync it with the server. You're going to hit subscriptions. You see that tab that says subscriptions? Go ahead and hit that subscriptions button. And that top green button that says restore purchase, go ahead and tap that. And mine didn't do it because there it is. Success. Your subscription has been restored. It basically resank it to the server, so you're good to go, right? So now I'm going to hit go back. You're also able to purchase it through here if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to hit go back. I'm ready to activate my event. So I'm going to hit activate event. Now it's asking me if I want to activate or test. I'm going to go ahead and activate a real event. It's asking me for camera permissions. It's really important. You give it permissions. And I'm going to scan my device. It says event recognized. Now it's setting up Touchpix, right? It's asking me for network permissions. Okay. It's going to ask me for microphone permissions. Okay. Bluetooth permissions. Okay. And always let it go into your camera roll, because what Touchpix does, it actually uses your camera roll briefly to make sure it backs up all your sessions. This last pop-up comes up when you're enabling the external session. It only comes up once the initial time, right? This is for the Apple TV. It needs certain resources, so hit OK. While it's downloading, what I'm going to do here on my left side of the screen, I'm going to go ahead and click events. Please pay attention to this following one because it's very important for the sharing station, right? So I'm going to click events. I'm actually going to make it big again. That way you guys can see it better, right? And this is the event that I just created. For those of you that have 2 devices and you want to create a sharing station, please do not scan the same QR code on both devices. Each device needs a separate QR code. Yes, it will work if you scan both devices on one QR code, but you're going to have issues when it comes time to closing the app. Only one will be able to close, and the other one, you're going to have to delete the app and reinstall it every time. So the way to actually do it properly is that original event that we just created. I'm just going to click on Manage. This middle tab right here is called Duplicate Event. I'm going to duplicate that event. And instead of saying copy, I'm going to rename it Sharing Station. That way I know that this QR code belongs to my sharing station. And I'm going to hit Submit. And you guys will not be able to see this right now, but I'm actually going to grab my my iPad, and I'm just going to scan into this event already, my sharing station event. That way I'll have it ready to go to show you guys how to do it. So I just went ahead and scanned into it. So now I'm going to toggle back over to the phone, because we don't need the web interface anymore. We're done with the computer. We're basically done. So if you pay attention to this home screen now, it actually, if I turn my phone sideways, it'll look a little better, right? That's what the logo is going to look like when I have my phone mounted. But I'm going to turn it on portrait mode because it's easier for me to explain that way, right? Okay, here we go.
So the sharing mode can be on a different, it don't have to be on the same Apple ID.
No, if you have the subscription, it needs to be under the same Apple ID, or else it's gonna force you to buy a separate subscription. You don't want to do that. You're better off signing out of whatever Apple ID it's on and signing into the correct one that belongs to you.
Okay.
So you're gonna see this hamburger icon right here. This is where your settings live. I'm gonna click on the settings, right? I'm going to click on Settings. And by default, every time you install Touchpix, it goes on to medium quality. I want to toggle it up here to ultra high quality. That's the best quality possible. I'm going to hit the right arrow right here until I hit camera, right? From camera, it's very important. If you're using an iPhone, you scroll down to where it says lens. You click on the lens box, make sure you set it to ultra wide. The next step, hit understood, would be adjust to slow-mo speed.
I'm not seeing the lens option.
What device are you using?
The iPhone 11 Pro Max.
If you're not seeing the lens options, that means you set your settings on using the front camera.
Gotcha.
So once you hit ultra wide and then you go to slow-mo speed, you're going to want to adjust it to 1920 by 1080, the very first option. 1920 by 1080 at 120 frames per second. Okay. And that's all you do. You only do this once, unless the only reason you would do this again is if you accidentally need to delete the app and reinstall it. Make sure you go back and adjust those two settings. Also here, if you're using a GoPro, that's where you would use to connect. But I'm basically done here. So I'm going to hit go back. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hit the right arrow. And I'm going to show you guys some effects, right? So this is another place where you guys would probably spend a lot of time in. It's called the Video Effects Creator. All these special effects that we add on Touchpix, like that snapshot, that effect that looks like people are taking still shots, or this is where they live, right? So if you put your finger on this list in the middle, this list scrolls. It's not limited to what you see. So as I'm scrolling, I see snapshot. So I'm going to select snapshot, which is right here.
Do you have to pay for these?
No, these are free. These are with the app.
What effects do you have to pay for? Because sometimes you say you have to buy them in Touchpix.
Yeah, so the ones that you have to pay for are the animated effects, like the glitter effects, because those are loaded. Those are designed differently. They're not like these types of effects. It's an actual animated overlay. So that's a one-time fee. You buy the whole package and you can use it at your leisure for as many events as you want.
Sorry there. Where do you go and change the length of the slow-mo?
Yeah, so you can do that in here as well. So I'm going to go through two effects here, or yeah, I'm going to go through two. So I'm going to use snapshot real quick, right? Let me see if I can. And once I select snapshot, you're going to see that it automatically comes down into this little gray box. And I'm going to press on snapshot inside the gray box. And while it's inside the gray box, now this slider here is my timeline. It's asking me kind of where do I want to apply that effect? I don't want it at the very beginning. I want it from 2.2 seconds, maybe to 0.4. That's the only place I want that effect. And if I want to use what you just mentioned, slow-mo timing, I'm going to go ahead and look for that slow-mo timing effect, which is on the third column there. I'm going to select slow-mo timing. It comes into the box. I'm going to press on the slow-mo timing button. And again, you can tell it where you want the slow-mo timing to start and end.
Sorry, where do you go to select slow-mo timing? I don't see that.
Yeah, it's here. It's in the effects.
Oh, where it says active effects, audio, snapshot, slow-mo timing?
Correct.
Okay, you have to select, okay.
Correct. You have to select it twice. Once to put it in that gray box, and then once it's in that gray box, you press it again to tell it where you want the timing to be in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there any way to determine or figure out like what the different effects look like other than, or what they do other than here, like some type of definition for them?
No, unfortunately, there's not. So it's something that you're going to have to use as a trial and error. You know, also you can always use the groups and say, hey, what are the most popular effects people are using, and try those first before you start trying, because there is a lot of stuff that I'm not a big fan of, but you know, I know ghosting is a pretty cool one. Slow-mo timing, snapshot, collage is a good one. It just really depends, and everybody has a different flavor. So I mean, you know, just because I don't like some doesn't mean that you're not going to like them either. So but if you pay attention to this exact screen here, you see where it says right here where it says post roll. This is where you're going to add your
I'm sorry, quick question. That slow-mo timing, how do I take it out of that gray box?
So you're going to select it on the gray box again, right? Press on it. And once you press on it, you're going to see that delete button on the top right there.
Gotcha.
So again, I was explaining this post roll here for people that want to include their promotional video. If you press post roll, I'm going to hit files. I think I have mine in my download folder. This post roll video needs to live in your device somewhere, right? So make sure that whoever designs it for you, you actually save it onto your folder. And once it's saved onto your folder, then you're going to be able to access this file. I think mine is actually on, let me see here, browse. It's going to be on my phone. I'm going to see if it's in Touchpix. Guess not. Try Dropbox. So yeah, you can put it in Google Drive. I tend to use a lot of different places where I store my devices because I run out of room everywhere. So in this case, I have Dropbox, but you can use Google Drive. You know, whatever works for you, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to look for it here. I forgot what I named it. Oh, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and select it. And now it just turns into a delete post roll. Do you guys want to see what those effects look like those glitters that are being sold? You guys have any interest in that? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and use something. Okay. So this is how you load it, right? This is how you load one of those effects. There's this function here called overlay black. You see it right there in the middle of the screen, overlay black. I'm going to select it. Overlay black just means that whatever's black, these effects are already meant for it, right? So these effects were designed in a black canvas. So this overlay black is just basically telling all the black is going to get replaced, right, with the actual video. So I'm going to select overlay black in the middle box. Then it's telling me choose file. Now this file lives also on my phone. I just saw it. That's why I asked if you guys wanted to know what that looks like. I'm going to hit choose file. Let's see. And I think there's a folder called confetti right here, right? And this confetti folder, I'm going to use, this confetti here. So I'm loading the confetti. This is the same one that's being sold, right? There's different variations of it. And once I'm ready to go, I'm going to hit go back. And I'm basically ready to do a session, right? So I'm going to do a session. I'm going to be holding the phone in my hand. I'm not putting it on my spinner today. So I'm just going to hold it. And this is what you guys will see. So here we go. There's my live view, right? There's my spinner.
Someone phones needs to go on mute, please.
Yeah, if you're not talking, if you guys mute, that'd be great. And as you can see, the developer listens to a lot of requests. So as you can see, that new feature, stop processing and restart, that was because of the the users. Some people said that they were accidentally recording a session and then they wanted to stop it, but they couldn't stop it till it was actually done rendering. So if somebody records a session and they don't want to go through with it, they can just hit stop and restart right away instead of having to wait for all this to happen to just do another session. So now it's applying the overlay, right? And we're using an animated overlay. So mind you, it's going fairly fast considering we're using an animated overlay. So it's adding my intro, my outro, and now my audio file, and it's going to look like this. Here we go.
Nice.
That's beautiful. That's nice.
Somebody's fancy.
Where do you get those outro videos, man?
Yeah, so you can hit up a lot of different people in our group, right? I go to freelancers, right? I use Keith Freeman. He's the one that made the one that you saw there. Keith Freeman.
Which groups?
Touchpix user group.
On Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook. You can go to Matt Calvert, right? There is Michelle. I don't know her last name, and I don't want to butcher it. Charles, if you're there, you probably know how to pronounce her last name. But her name is Michelle with an S. And just ask a general question: who makes video outros? Who makes video overlays? And look, Touchpix is a very powerful software. I'm actually going to show you guys something, and I hope I don't get in trouble because it's not my artwork. It belongs to a client, but it was an old event that she did, right? And this is something that you guys can potentially do. So I'm going to get rid of that confetti, right? I'm going to get rid of overlay black. I'm going to see if I can do this because I know there's.
How do they charge you for the overlays? Do you just have to?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has
a
different price. It depends on the work that's being done, obviously.
Oh no, I meant the video effects. How does Touchpix charge you for the video effects?
Oh, it's just a one-time fee. I mean, the ones that we sell in the store, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, does it just go through your Apple ID?
Yeah, it goes through the Apple Pay, correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and it's just a one-time fee, so you can use any of them at any given time. So if you guys pay attention to this overlay here, where I used overlay black, see the middle of the screen where it says overlay color, right? I'm going to select overlay color, and then I'm going to go to the middle screen. I'm going to select overlay color, and it's asking me to choose a file, right? And now Touchpix got a little advanced because that where it says hex color is just a code for that specific color. And this old file, I'm going to try to see if I could get it to work because this was done prior to us adding that hex color feature. So I'm going to hit choose file, and I'm going to go back here. You see these with the green background type of thing, right? Do you see any of these? Look at this one here, and I hope I don't get in trouble because this is not mine, but belongs to a user. And you know, she did this a while back, and I'm gonna see if I can make it work. But it's gonna be hard for me to actually match that color. Let me see if I can get it. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm kind of freestyling this, so if it doesn't work, don't be talking smack. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
I also think is everything we do is trial and error. So
Oh damn! I should have removed that original overlay. It's going to conflict. I should have removed that. So, man. Yeah, it might not work, but I was just trying to give you guys a good example. And if you guys want to see better examples, I can, you know, Charles and I can send you some samples because Charles used to use a lot of these animated overlays. And, you know, I've used them on occasion here and there. And I think now I'm going to use them again because things have gotten a lot faster. So it's going to look funky because I left my old artwork there. I should have removed it before doing it, but see if you guys get the idea at least.
So what are we doing today? We're doing iPhone. And,
we're doing iPhone, and we're going to do Sharing Station next, and then I think we'll do Scanpix because it's super easy.
How often do they approve your request on Facebook? 'Cause I did it this morning, and I'm still waiting to get approved.
For what?
Nice.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I approved them earlier. Shoot me a message on here. If you can. It should say Charles Rogers probably. Shoot me a message, or it says iPhone me. I'm not sure. And I'll check on it right now. Send me your name.
Okay.
So let me show you guys one of my animated overlays here.
What's the name of the group so I can shoot you a message, Ocho? Sorry.
Touchpix user group. Let me see. I'm going through a lot of my stuff real quick because I want you guys to understand that, you know, Touchpix is a pretty powerful software, and the more you see, the more you're going to want to like elevate your game, right? I think at least that's the way I think about it. So let's see what we can do here. I guess I can show you. Yeah, I'll show you this one here. So this is an animated overlay that was done. As you can see, you're going to see the curtain opening up, all the wording, all the moving of things are going to be done on this one. So check this one out real quick. Oh man, did it? Give me a sec. It stopped on me real quick. Yeah, if you guys have, let me reconnect, and then if you guys have questions, we can take some questions right now while I reconnect. My internet stopped sharing the screen real quick.
Hey, DJ, you know, they sent some, I think some animations in the Touchpix file. How do we use those? Then they got the external, it's for external monitor animations.
Yeah, so those, it's not that you use them. What it is when you're using the Apple Store, right? I mean, I'm sorry, the Apple TV.
Yes.
You can change the stock animations and place your own in there. So you download the original files as a template and then just kind of follow the sequence and replacing them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is kind of what I wanted to show you. Hopefully it's still there. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. So this is an animation that, yeah, there we go.
Wow, I like the curtain.
Charles, you said your name was Charles or what?
This guy who made this one was Matt Calvert for me. Like I said, you know, everybody has different design styles. Find whoever is going to work out for you, right? You can always, they'll send you sample work. It'll be watermarked, right? Till you decide to go with that guy, then they'll remove the watermarks. But It really depends. But like I said, I just wanted to show you that because Touchpix, I mean, it does a lot. And we're just scratching the surface with that, right? And I'm sorry if it stuttered on you guys a little bit. My internet connection seems to be struggling right now. There's a lot of devices connected, but it gives you an example of what that looks like, right? So at this point, I want to show you guys how to operate the sharing station, right? And let me put this up on a bracket here, and I'll show you guys exactly how we're going to do this, right?
So while he's getting that taken care of, y'all, anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I was saying, what was your name? I couldn't find it. It's Charles.
I put it in the group for you just now. Okay, I typed it in.
Okay.
Just a quick question for the individuals that may make the overlays or the custom overlays. Do they charge for each individual session, or would they have something that maybe you could pay like for a bulk of them, or would it just be for one overlay? Or
as you get deeper into this industry, you'll find different, you'll find groups, you'll find websites that sell them. Some companies have subscriptions. I know DJ One uses one. Some companies was like, some people, especially during the pandemic last year, they had all their previous designs for sale for $99. So as you kind of go through different things, you'll find people, but generally you'll find someone who makes it per overlay about $15 to $50, depending on who you find.
okay, and that would be those individuals whose name I see you posted, correct? Some of those individuals that we could reach out to.
Yeah, and I like to give everyone kind of a just make sure you know who you're dealing with. Ask for examples. Look at previous work, and just make sure you make the right decisions. We don't police the group for people who are selling things, so just kind of be careful.
Okay, and that is in the Touchpix group, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha. Thanks.
All right, I'm about ready here. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to go to my
regarding.
Go ahead.
No, I had a question regarding the bundle. You purchased the bundle, but it also is supposed to have, I guess, 3 months free software. Is the software Touchpix, or is it a different software?
What are you referring to? You purchased what bundle?
For the photo booth, the automatic.
Yeah, so there's two distinctions here, man. If you're purchasing a spinner, you're not dealing with Touchpix. We're only focused on software. So if somebody's selling, a package deal, that's not with us directly. I don't know what.
Got you. It's separate.
Yeah, it's separate.
Gotcha.
Correct. Yeah. So look, I want to mirror my. I pulled my phone just that way you guys can better understand the way we do this, right? So that's my iPad sharing station right there, and that's the iPhone that I'm using to record. The recommendations I do when you're setting up your sharing station first is the following, right? Go to your iPad settings, right? This is what I always recommend. Once you go to your iPad settings, always make sure that your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth are on. They don't necessarily need, well, your sharing station probably should be hooked up to Wi-Fi because it's sharing the content, but your Bluetooth needs to be on. It doesn't need to be connected to anything, but it needs to be on. The other thing that you need to be mindful of is right here where it says display and brightness. I always recommend you guys go into display and brightness on your right-hand side where it says auto lock, set auto lock over to never, which is the last option. This will prevent your iPad from going to sleep, because if it goes to sleep while you're sharing at an event, it'll lose its connection, right? And we don't want it to do that. So once you have those two things set, you're going to open up Touchpix. You're already going to scan that duplicate event, and you're going to start with your sharing station.
Sorry, can you repeat that last step?
Sure. Which one? The one with the brightness?
Yeah,
Yes.
the brightness one.
Yeah, so we're going to go back. Let's go into the settings. Make sure Wi-Fi, Bluetooth is on. Go into display and brightness. Go over to the right where it says auto lock and set auto lock to never. That basically disables your screensaver or your screen lock, right? Meaning that the only way you can turn off your iPad is if you hit the little power button on the top, right? So after that, we go back into Touchpix, scan into the app. Once you scan into the app, the way you set up a sharing station is where it says gallery, you're going to tap on gallery, right? And when you tap on gallery, you're going to see a little circle with a letter inside of it. You're going to tap on the S, right? Once you tap on it, it gives you a menu. The menu now says activate receiver as an option. Remember, your iPad sharing station is always the receiver. Your recording device is always the sender. But we always start with the iPad. It's important you guys need to start with the iPad. Set it to activate receiver, right? You selected that. Great. Now you're going to go over to your 360 booth arm. You're going to go over to your iPhone. You're also going to tap on gallery. And from your phone, what you're going to want to do is click on the S. The second step is activate sender. The name of my iPad just popped up. So I'm going to go ahead and select the name of my iPad. And it says success, connected. I'm going to hit OK. Now I could leave the gallery, and that video that I just did, that sample video, just popped up and the R turned green. If you see a green R, that means you successfully connected to your sharing station. It's that easy. Super easy. I'm going to do another video. That way you can see how fast it syncs over, right? I'm going to grab this phone here, select, let it record, right?
And real quick, when you guys are doing your sharing station setup, make sure that when you hit like the sender, and you hit and it puts up your other device to click the name, it'll tell you when you click that S or R if you need to turn Wi-Fi on, you need to turn Bluetooth on. Make sure you're reading and looking for those things because it's telling you what you need to do.
Also, I got a question. When I haven't had any problems with it, but I noticed every now and then if I disable sharing station, I go back to it, it'll show me several names of my iPad up there. I mean, and I'm trying to find out why.
Yeah,
that one name.
So that means that at some point your iPad disconnected, right?
Okay.
And you're trying to reconnect.
Okay.
The best option at that time would be to just close down the app and restart them, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
So that just
Appreciate
finished
it.
over here. And look at now the second video popped in that quick. So I got 2 videos now in there. So it's an extremely fast connection, wireless connection that works pretty damn good, right? You guys have any questions with how to set up that sharing station? Was that pretty
And can you
self-explanatory?
show like if the person went over to the sharing station, they would, what they would do? They would go tap their video.
So they're gonna go now, sharing station. They're gonna see the thumbnail and say, "Oh, that's my video." I'm gonna tap on it, and you have all these sharing icons. It's gonna play. Now I can do either text message and send myself a text message, right? Or I can do QR code. You guys could scan that QR code from home, and you guys will be able to download that video, right? Let me know if you guys are able to scan it. So you'll be able to scan that QR code from home. You can do email, AirDrop, or WhatsApp, and it's that easy. Then you hit done, and it goes back to the sharing station. Did that make sense for a lot of people?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you put the QR code back up again?
Yeah, sure. There it is.
Oh, okay. It worked.
Oops.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I can take some questions. Anything else you guys wanted to see specifically? Did you guys want to see the Apple TV? I could do Scanpix real quick. We got a little bit of time, but I want to cover whatever you guys want to learn.
Got a question.
Go ahead.
When you when you log out of, when you end your session, it asks you, it tells you cannot log back in once you log out. Now, how is that? I'm kind of confused on that. When you end your session, it tells you once you scan that QR code, you can't go back in. You're like technically locked out. But you still have all your pictures and all your pictures, so you don't have to get back in, do you?
Yeah, your pictures are automatically saved on that device that's capturing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Can you show where you put this, like you can adjust the slow-mo for your video if you don't want it in certain places?
Yeah. Didn't I just show that earlier?
I know you went over that last week. I watched it in the webinar online, but I just wanted to see if you could go over it one more time.
Okay, I'm gonna actually do it from my phone, see if you guys can see it here. I'm gonna go to Touchpix. I'm gonna go over to settings. From settings, I'm gonna go over to video effects creator or video effects. Then I'm gonna select slow-mo duration. First of all, let me delete some of these effects here. So that way I don't have a lot to work with. Okay, now I'm just gonna worry about, let me see, go back. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna look for slow-mo duration. I think that's what it's called.
DJ, did you record this? How do you go by getting this, watch this again?
Yeah, I record this. It's gonna be up on YouTube by tomorrow sometime.
It's called slow-mo timing.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Let me see. Oh, there it is.
On the right-hand side.
Slow-mo timing. That's where it's at. I'm gonna go ahead and select it. I'm gonna actually put the slow-mo timing at the beginning only, right? I'm gonna just do it at the beginning. But if you move the sliders either way, if you leave it full spread eagle, that means the slow-mo timing is gonna be applied to the entire video, is gonna be on slow motion. But if I want slow-mo just in certain segments, you tell it by putting these two timeline markers where you want the slow-mo timing to be applied.
What happens if you don't? What happens if you don't do anything with that section? Does it just do it on its own?
No. If you pick slow-mo timing, by default, it's going to apply it on the entire video. By default.
Right, I understand. But if you don't do it at all because it automatically does a slow-mo,
then it'll automatically do it on its own.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'll show you guys real quick, and I'll show you guys with the Apple TV, right? Give me a second real quick.
Can you show the Apple TV with the app? Like I said, I don't. Yeah, if you could, I struggle with that.
Okay, give me a sec real quick. Sorry, just got it. So I got the Apple TV box right there. I don't know if you guys are able to see that. It's just plugged into this TV here. Simple, pretty simple setup. And all you need to do to make sure that the connection is there, I'm gonna grab my phone real quick. Right. Oops. Are you guys able to hear me still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. Had a little hiccup here. Okay, let me get it off this mount real quick. All right. Okay, so the way you connect it to your Apple TV, you turn on your Apple TV, right? And in this situation here, you want to screen mirror. What you need to do is with your finger from the top right corner of your screen, you're going to drag it slowly to the middle, something like this. That's called the control panel, right? There is a double screen icon, which means screen mirroring. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now it's detected my Apple TV, which is called 360. I'm going to select it. I think this is the phone that's connected to, give me a sec here real quick. It's connected to the computer real quick. Let me disconnect it from the computer. Yeah, because I was screen mirroring to my computer. That way you guys can see it. It was still connected. Okay, here we go. Let's do this again. Go back into Touchpix, right? From the top corner, drag it down to the control panel. You hit the screen mirror function. The 360 pops up. I'm going to go ahead and select it and watch what the TV is going to do once I select that. The TV now changed into a Touchpix screen. Touchpix logo has the QR codes. So I want you guys to check this out. So now I'm going to go to the Touchpix app. So now when I hit record, look what happens to the TV. I'm going to hit record. Now it's a live view. Wherever I'm moving my phone, it's a live view recording. You'll see the countdown, 3, 2, 1. So it's recording.
Ooh.
People can see themselves. Pretty cool.
Wow.
So fancy.
Dope. I can't
So
You have to have that box for that to work. Do you have to have that box you were talking
Yeah,
about?
the
for that
Apple
to work?
TV box, correct.
Okay.
And this is an old one. This is the 3rd generation, but let's see how it plays it back. Like I said, I've had some stutters here and there. Sometimes it works great. That's why I'm recommending the 4 and up now. You know, because you just want to be up to date with technology, and it does that video playback. You see that video playback? I know.
Now look, y'all. I need y'all to make sure y'all. This is added value, so make sure you're adding money for this. Don't be carrying TVs to events and not charging for it. More work, more money. Sorry, sir.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Preach, talk about it. I appreciate that.
So there it is. See,
DJ, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Are you gonna put it on the spinner?
No, I was, but you know, my spinner is battery operated, and I didn't charge the battery for today. It has a dead battery.
But if y'all don't mind me saying, this makes a good point. You don't need your 360 to test. You don't need. I used to be in. I used to GoPro, so I used to have my GoPro set up in my hallway, looking down my stairs, and at night I would just be doing test after test after test, seeing how it works, errors, playing with different effects and features. You don't need your 360 to test. You can test in the middle of the park. You can test while you're at work. Just get your testing in.
I do that. Yeah.
Wow, great.
Yeah,
I thought I had to wait till I got my booth before I started anything, so I could be practicing with my phone.
I circle mine around the room, just go in circles or something, just to play around with it to see how it works.
No, and that's a great way to do it. I mean, at the end, you gotta be familiar with the software. You gotta be familiar with everything else. So again, look, for people.
Hey, DJ, I'm sorry.
You guys can scan this QR code. Is the one that I just did. This is the one straight from the Apple box.
Leave it there for a second.
There it is. Oops. Let's see.
Are you just
Is it possible that it's
doing
the
a
type of
screenshot,
TV?
right? You're just doing a
using-
screenshot of that, right?
No, you're gonna scan it with your camera app, and it will take you straight to download that video.
Camera.
So open up your camera app.
Okay.
And
Nice. It has a music playing too and everything.
yeah, exactly. There you
Okay,
go.
I'm at my camera.
Okay, let me leave it up there. Just a couple more seconds, and I'm going to show you guys Scanpix real quick, and I think I'm going to call it a night because I'm getting hungry.
If I'm on my phone already, so I guess that won't work for me. If I'm on
Oh
my
yeah,
phone.
yeah. Screenshot it and maybe try it again later with an iPad or something.
Okay.
DJ, one, you're not gonna go over Scanpix?
Yeah, I am. That's what I'm going to dive into right now. Sorry, my computer fell and gotta pick it up real quick. So yeah, let's go into Scanpix. I'll show you guys what's up with that. And give me one quick second here. Gotta pick up my computer, make sure its screen didn't break. All right, we're good. We're good.
So my HP computer that I invested in last year and spent all this money for, it won't work with this, huh? I need to be an Apple girl, huh?
Won't work with what? Let me understand that. You're gonna need it to design your overlays still, right?
Okay.
So check this out. This is Scanpix right now, okay? That we're gonna go into Scanpix here. It's gonna be super easy. So before I take you into Scanpix, I need you guys to go into, let me see if I can do this. Oh, damn. Okay, so never mind. So you guys are gonna have to go into the Touchpix YouTube page, and there's one quick step where you guys need to go into to configure your router. right? Because if you buy a router, these routers right now are about, there's two of them. I'd recommend you guys buy the $80 one, but if you guys are tight with money, which a lot of people are these days, it'll work with the $40 one, but just know that the $80 one's a lot better, okay? And if you buy this router, right, Scanpix is free. So what you need to do is, you need to do the following, right? I'm gonna go ahead and exit the sharing station real quick. I'm just gonna close it out real quick. And I'm gonna open up Touchpix and I'm gonna go over here where it says settings, right? And I'm gonna toggle with the right arrow all the way till I see where it says, I think it says web server, right? So web server, this is the built-in touch Scanpix now on. What you're gonna wanna do is type in your business. I'm gonna just put ABC for now. That way it keeps it real simple. I'm gonna put a phone number, right? 555. And you guys won't be able to try this at home because obviously this works with a local network, right? I'm just gonna throw in some generic terms here, but I'll try it for you guys can see. A web link, I mean, you guys can put your web link. I'll just put, let me see, I'll put it ESPN or something like that, something generic, but you guys could put your website. Let me see, I'm putting ESPN. This is where you guys will put your website. This is the important part. When you configure your router, where it says Wi-Fi name and password, you're gonna name your router whatever name it is you want people to log into, and you're gonna create your own password. That there's a video for that in the Touchpix YouTube page. Once you have established and renamed your router successfully, you're gonna punch in the name here exactly the same as what you named it. So in my case, it's called Central Cal Photo Booth.com. The password that I created for that router is simple. It's enter 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanted it real simple. Once I'm done entering those credentials, you're going to scroll back up right here where it says activate web server, right? I'm going to go ahead and activate the web server. Right, and now a QR code generated there. I'm going to hit generate QR code, and I am basically ready to go. So as I go into the sharing station, right, I'm going to set this as the receiver again, and I'm going to set the actual iPhone. Did I grab the right one? No, I grabbed the wrong one. What did I do with the iPhone? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I got too many iPhones here. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go back into the iPhone and I'm going to go ahead and go sender, pick my, says success. So look what happened now, right? What happened now, this is just a screensaver. You can still use it as a sharing station, but now the screensaver for Scanpix pops up. This is for people to access your local network from your router, and this will be the one that will grab the actual footage. Let me see if I can grab a separate phone that I'm not using, right? This is a completely different phone that I'm not using. Right, I'm gonna open my camera app on this other phone that I'm not using. I'm gonna scan that right there. It's telling me if I wanna join my network. I'm gonna hit join, right? I'm gonna let it join that network. Once it's joined that network, now I'm gonna scan QR code 2, right? Here we go, I'm gonna scan QR code 2. Sorry, I'm getting some messages coming in. I'm gonna hit go. It should have popped up right now. Let me do another session just because I just connected to that. Let's see if that'll help it real quick. Here we go. I'm going to do another session. Just record something real quick. And it's still connected to my Apple TV, so that's why it says look at the TV, because it's connected to my Apple TV. Oh, you know where I messed up? Okay, my bad. My bad. And I apologize for this. So where I messed up in explaining this is since I created the new network, my iPad is still connected on to my regular internet. You want to make sure you connect your iPad to the router, right? This is the router network right here. That's where I messed up. I should have done that at the beginning. So it is enter 1, 2, 3, 4. Click join.
I'm sorry, what do we need the router for?
The router is for Scanpix, right? This is to share without the internet. As you can tell, look at what it says. No internet connection. The router is just to share without the internet, basically, without an internet connection, right? So now I'm going to go in here and I'm actually going to exit off of this because I'm going to have to do it over. So I messed up because I should have logged into my router first. Now I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to actually go into settings. And I apologize for that. I was just going in a hurry.
So and what kind of router do you get?
It's a TP-Link router. TP-Link AX3000. I'm going to go ahead and generate code. All of this. Okay, activate web server is what I want to do. Okay, now I'm done. Now I want to go to gallery, hit activate receiver. Go to this phone here. I'm going to go ahead and hit activate sender. There it is. Success, it's connected. So I'm going to wait now again, right, for that screensaver to pop up. And now you're going to see my videos because now this is communicating with my router. That's why it wasn't loading. I apologize for that. So let's try this
You
again.
only have to do this on the iPad, right? Not
Correct.
your device. Okay.
Correct. Just on the iPad. So now I'm going to scan into that QR code number 2. There it is. And bam, there's my video. You see that? Tap to download. You see my videos popping up now? So now this is a way they can share without the internet. This is 100% delivery guaranteed. You don't need a mobile hotspot. All you need is your router, an iPad, and watch this tutorial and you're good to go. So I'm going to hit tap download.
I like it.
You said it's called TP Decode? Or?
No, TP-Link. Tom,
TP-Link?
Paul, Link, L-I-N-K.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's telling me if I want to download, and look how fast it's going to download into the device. The little download button is right there. You see the blue circle? Click on the blue circle, and now you can do, it's in my downloads folder. There it is, playback, bam. There it is. That's the video I just recorded now. So pretty easy. I can back up if you guys need me to back up, but I mean, it's self-explanatory. Once you rename your router with a name and password, this next step, just remember, don't do what I did. Make sure your iPad is connected to that router without internet. Punch in your credentials, right? Punch in your credentials. I'm going to go through it one more time real quick. Once you punch in your credentials, make sure it matches. Web server, make sure your credentials match, right? It has to be exactly. And then you just hit enable web server and you're done. Guaranteed delivery of all content.
And the router goes with you when you go to the job too, right?
Yeah, the router goes with you. So the beauty of it is that the router is just connected to power. That's it. You don't need to connect it anywhere else. It's just connected to a power outlet. That's it.
Can I see what your router looks like? Because I'm seeing a lot of different TP links.
Well, the model is AX3000, man. So
Oh,
there's only one AX3000.
Okay.
How do you go about configuring it?
What do you mean? Well, the router, look, there's two ways of doing it. You watch the YouTube video that's on the Touchpix website.
I did.
The very first step shows you how to configure the router. If that's not working for you, that actual router comes with instructions on how to access the backend. It's super easy. So all you got to do is know the, I would do it here right now, but I don't know what my password is for that router to get into the backend because it's a different password. I would have to reset the whole thing and show you guys. But that shouldn't be something that's going to stop you from trying to. It comes with instructions on how to do it.
I'm sorry, it was AX3000?
AX, yeah.
So with the router, you don't need the box. With the router, you don't need a box, but you still need Wi-Fi, right?
No, you don't even need Wi-Fi. You don't need a box or Wi-Fi. You share without Wi-Fi. I mean, no Wi-Fi without internet. Yeah, it'll save you money because you don't even need a mobile hotspot. You can take this anywhere in the boondocks and guarantee that every guest, whether they have an iPhone or Android, are going to be able to get the content.
And this will work on the TV as well?
No, the TV is a different.
You said something like a version 8 or something, did you?
Version 8 for what?
Oh, I thought I heard you say something like a version, but you said AX3000. Okay,
AX3000. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So what
can only
use? What does he mean by it won't work on the TV?
What do you mean? The TV is a different sharing station. That needs Wi-Fi. This here, I mean, the TV is a sharing station that needs internet connection for that QR code to work, or else that QR code's not generated. This here does not need internet. It's syncing up with your router, so it's a different system.
So this here is the iPad?
Correct.
Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Correct.
So is Scanpix something you have to pay for?
No, it's free. It's built into the app.
So the router is connected for the 360, goes to the sharing station pretty much.
Run that by me one more time.
The router is for linking the TV, the 360 to the sharing station?
Correct. The router is for linking the content to your iPad, right? And the router just is giving users access to log into a local network and being able to grab those files from that iPad.
Okay, and then Wi-Fi is for the code, the QR code.
Correct. That's totally different, and that's a totally different way of sharing. You're not going to use them both. You're going to use one or the other. You actually can use them both, but that's more an advanced feature, and you would need to know how to do that. But for now, use one or the other till you get really good at setting up this connection, and then you can venture in doing it with both if that's what you want to do.
What's the difference between the 3000 and 6000? Is there?
No, I mean, the 3000, we picked it because it's one of the user-friendliest routers. It's not complicated to set up whatsoever. And it has a very new technology, Wi-Fi 6, which is the fastest available speeds right now.
Okay.
The 6000 is probably just a bulked up version of the 3000, probably a lot more money. You don't really need that. I think the 3000 is great. If you guys want it, there's a really good deal on it right now. Go to B as in Bravo, B&H Photo. The website's called B&H Photo Video or something like that. You can Google it, B&H Photo, you'll see it. And type in TP-Link AX3000. It's on sale for $79.99.
Okay, I know B&H. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're in a Facebook group, I actually posted links to those yesterday also.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of that homework for you guys. So yeah, you guys have any questions? I got probably about 5 minutes, and like I said, I'm hungry.
I got one general question, and I'm gonna lump everything up, and I haven't done any action yet, and I got I just want to make sure with the iPhone 11 and iPad and the Touchpix, that's pretty much what we need to start off before we start generating revenue to start buying other, aesthetics type material. But with that alone, we're ready to go with this video.
Yeah, I mean, run that by me one more time just to make sure I understood you correctly.
I'm just trying to say more or less through this video, you summed up everything we would need to go live with. We don't need any.
Correct. The only other thing that I didn't mention, I didn't touch on, is lights. Right?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, yeah, that's aesthetic. I don't know if that's required right away or is that
you
just
need lights. You need lights
light.
of some sort, right?
Okay.
You need lights. You need a ring light, maybe, or something that support lights above the phone.
Right.
Flashlight.
You need lights, right? That's important, right? Video output is important with that. So lights would be something I would consider, and everything else. I think if you follow this video, you can't lose, man. You can't lose with these webinars. You need to come back next Wednesday. Feel free. I'm here. This is a
DJ.
One quick question for you.
Yeah.
For the slow-mo speed, right? You know how you selected 1920 by 1080 by 120?
Yeah.
Do you have to select that, or can I select something a little bit more faster?
What do you want to do? 60 frames per second instead of the 120?
Yeah, I think the 120 is too long. So can you give me another suggestion for one that's a little bit quicker than that?
What do you mean by quicker? I'm just that way we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, okay. So the slow-mo speed that you showed in the video was quite long. Like that first section there where the slow-mo speed was very slow. I want to like speed it up a little bit more.
Yeah, so that feature doesn't have anything to do with that 1080 by 1920 to 120 frames per second. It has nothing to do with the actual controlling the speed of it, right? 60 frames per second, it just means that the video is going to look a little bit more, depending on your lighting, it'll look a little bit more fluid at times. But 120 frames per second is probably the best that we would recommend for quality of the slow motion. You can play with the 60 frames per second to see if it makes a difference. I personally don't think it's going to make a difference on that. I think you're going to have to play with your slow motion timing to find whatever's going to work for you. Obviously, it sounds like you're looking for a more refined timing with that respect, and I think that's going to be based on your trial and error.
Okay, so based on your knowledge, can we control the speed of the slow-mo?
You can control the speed of when the slow-mo effects is applied, correct?
No, I'm not talking about the length of the slow-mo. I'm talking about the speed of the slow-mo.
You meaning you wanted to speed up faster?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you can't control that anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That could be a possible effect that could be added in later, but I've honestly, this is the first time I've heard somebody request that, but I could definitely throw it out to the developer and see what he thinks.
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
Okay, will do. Any other questions?
I do. I was trying to find out about, you was talking about setting up a photo booth tutorial.
Yeah, let's connect, man. Shoot me an email if you don't mind.
Okay.
I probably won't respond till tomorrow, and tomorrow, tomorrow's a little bit of a jam-packed day for me. But let's set something up for probably Friday. I'll be able to do something on Friday.
Okay. That's fine. What's your email again?
You can email me at D as in David, J as in James, spell out the number 1, so O-N-E altogether, DJ1 at touchpix.com.
Okay.
When will this video be up? Because I missed the beginning.
It'll be up by tomorrow. It's kind of late. I could load it tonight, man. I could load it tonight. It'll be up by tomorrow morning. By the time you wake up tomorrow, it'll be up and loaded, man.
Awesome. That'd be awesome. I would appreciate that.
No worries, man. Any other questions?
I have one quick question.
Sure.
And we didn't touch on this tonight, and I don't know if you're going to touch on it next week, but what about using a GoPro?
Yeah, we can touch on that next week. So
Okay,
the last two videos, the last two webinars, I concentrated on the GoPro 10.
Okay.
And I'll go next week with the GoPro 10 again. In the event that you just want to take a head start, you can always go to the YouTube page, my YouTube page, and I have last week's webinar loaded there with the GoPro 10.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. All right, I just want to thank you guys for staying up. I know a lot of you guys are on the East Coast. I appreciate you guys.
Yes.
You know,
DJ, real quick, just so you know, in the chat, I just posted the GoPro webinar. There you go.
Cool. There it is.
One quick question.
Sure.
I know you said with the router, would that router help with the printing? Because I know you can download. I was talking to Charles, I believe, yesterday, and he was telling me about the downloading the printer for the photo booth. Would that router help with that also?
No, the way the printer works, man, the printer needs an actual, you need two things, one or the other. Once you get your photo booth printer, you know, you say you have the RX1, I think.
Yes.
You're either going to need a Windows computer to run that, right? Because that has your printer drivers. DMP does make a wireless module where you don't need a laptop. It's just a little box that you plug into it. And it's that makes that printer accessible via AirPrint, right? So you can use either or, but the router really doesn't play into any of the printing elements.
Okay, but I heard that air printer can be inconsistent sometimes depending on the Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, I think the best way, man, the more secure way is probably using the Windows driver, man. Using the Windows system.
No problem. Yeah, I just purchased another laptop, so I was just making sure.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate all you guys, man. You guys stay grinding, learn as much as you can, ask questions. We're here to help. Feel free to reach any of us. I appreciate you guys spending that night tonight, and I'll be here next week if you guys need that help.
Yeah, we appreciate you sticking around all this time. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
So much.
And Charles, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Charles. Big ups to Charles for helping me out tonight, man.
Big ups, Charles.
And it's my first time on this webinar, and it's great.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of info for a lot of people, and I just try to simplify the best that I can, but I know there's a lot of moving parts, and I just want you guys to feel confident. You guys got this. At the end of the day, look, this is a photo booth app, right? You guys are not going out there with laptops and messing with connections and messing around with other variables that can hinder your success. This is an app. You master this app, then you're gonna do all right in this industry. Just give it some time, give it the opportunity, and ask away. You know, we're here to help you guys succeed, make that money right now. I don't know how long this industry is going to be around for, but right now it's at its peak, right? Or it's about to reach its peak. So we recommend you guys really dive into it. On a side note, start looking into the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas. That's the biggest photo booth expo. It's typically done every year. Obviously, we even had it last year because it was kind of 2020. It was pre-COVID pandemic. It was in February. They usually have it during the industry downtime in February during the week. Make it out there. You'll see a lot of vendors. You'll see Touchpix in the house representing, what we do. But it's one of the largest photo booth gatherings, and it's in Vegas. So, if you guys are taking this industry seriously, you guys will go over there. You guys will meet vendors, buy backdrops, buy props, buy anything you guys can think of. Even spinners will be out there, at a very reasonable, good price. So let's start looking into that for this coming year in February.
I'll be there. I plan to be there.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you guys have a good night, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.